Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Great to be here. When my father was 10 years old, he arrived by boat in Rotterdam on his own under the guidance of a woman that took care of him during the war. His mother and sister died, and his father was still at the other side of the world, recovering from working in the mines as a prisoner of war. He had never been to the Netherlands before, but he spoke the language. My father never talked about this period in his life, and he doesn't want to talk about it. But of course, it influenced in many ways the values in our house when my brother and I grew up. We have this little tile in the hallway that probably a lot of Dutch homes have, and it said, the most important things in life are three: care, love, respect, making sure the people you love are doing okay. All those things were very important. Listen to people carefully. Treat them with respect when you meet them for the first time. And probably the most important things were taught at home was, when you know something, act upon it. And that probably influenced me the most. How can you buy stuff when you know at the other side of the world people are treated in a bad way by producing it? So it influenced many of the choices I made. I did science in high school and decided to study economic history. My school was devastated and even stated that at the graduation ceremony. And when I changed my first corporate job for working at an NGO, people didn't understand. Salary-wise, it was maybe not the wisest decision I made, but I earned a lot from it. And spending the money my grandmother, who took care of my father during the war, saved for me, I used after my studies to travel to the countries I learned about, but I had never been before. And learning something from the books is very different when you are there. And probably it was the best part of the education I've got. So values are at the core of everybody. Everybody in this room has those kind of values and experiences. And it influences the choices we are making. But it's also interesting to realize that we never talk about these values. We don't know of our best friends what is their driver. And that's interesting, especially in these times when so many things are changing so rapidly, that we want to have good values at the basis of the new systems we are creating. We are standing in this old building that was really part of the Industrial Revolution. And according to Jan Rotman, someone I work with, he's a transition professor, he states, we're not living in an era of change. We are living in a change of eras. Because everything is changing. Society is changing. New powers emerge. Economy is changing. And new systems are developing themselves. 80% of the jobs we are doing now will not exist in the near future. And that's not in 20 years' time. That's maybe in 5 years' time. This self-driving car is not a very dangerous machine being tested somewhere. It's a reality. And in the Netherlands alone, there are 160,000 drivers working. How will their future look like? Many things are changing. And the good thing is, all the new stuff that is going on may be visible for some of you and some not. But when you look at what motivates people best, we have science on our side. 45 years of research shows that people can really conquer the biggest challenges when they're motivated intrinsically. So they outperform everybody else when they have a goal that is bigger than themselves. 45 years, and it's not only the West where those kind of results appear, also in countries like India. The same exact the same system. It works like that. When you are motivated for a bigger cause, you can really move mountains. Unfortunately, business has not been aware of those results. The carrot and the stick method, if you do this, then you get that, is most often used. And guess what? It's not working for 21st century challenges. We need creative thinkers to solve very big challenges we are facing at this time. Dan Pink puts it like this. He said, science is proving what the heart already knows. And as a parent, probably you know that as well, because the carrot and stick method is definitely not working in our household. And maybe the development of social enterprises, the amount of social enterprises that are coming up in this world, they grow in a speedy rate. There are 1,500 B Corps registered in the Netherlands. The Triodos Bank is one of them. There are more than 750 initiatives rated at the MAX exchange index, that kind of measuring social and environmental initiatives on a lower scale. But also in a country like Nepal, there's a Rockstart Impact program for social and environmental entrepreneurs. And more than 200 entrepreneurs applied for the program. There's unfortunately only place for 10. So it's everywhere. A very beautiful example is Soupalicious. It's a small soup factory and restaurant in a not so nice industrial area. And they make healthy, tasty soups out of vegetables that otherwise would have been thrown away. And the people that work in the kitchen are refugees, and under the guidance of a great mentor who helps them to prepare for the hospitality job market. And for every cup of soup they sell, they make a cup of soup for the people at the food banks. So what a win-win-win situation. I mean, you save vegetables for being thrown away, you give jobs for people who have difficulties finding a job, and you supply a group of poor people in the Netherlands with a healthy product that is really difficult to get in those crates at the food banks. You know, that is like multitasking. If everybody would do that, that would solve so many problems. Because isn't it incredible that when there are 800 million people hungry in this world, that we throw 40% of all the food we produce away? And isn't it strange that refugees that have a status to work in the Netherlands, only 36% can find a job? And that's not because they don't want to work. My husband works in that sector. They all want to work, but their surnames are different than my surname. And isn't it incredible that 94,000 people in the Netherlands depend for their food on food banks? And I mean, I know the real hungry people don't live in the Netherlands. They live in very remote areas, very far away from here, because most hungry people are farmers, small-scale farmers. And I always felt that combination was so sad. I mean, you are a farmer and you're hungry. I mean, that is just incredible. In 2009, I met Andrew Young at the school forum in Oxford, and it's one of those meetings you will never forget. I still remember how the room looked like. And when I heard him speak, I thought, this is the guy. He will solve this issue. He is the founder of the One Acre Fund that gives services to these farmers on a walking distance of these farmers. He provides them with seeds and fertilizers and really basic techniques. It's not really difficult math that he's offering them, but he connected everything they needed to double their yields. And guess what? In 9 years' time, 300,000 of those farmers have doubled their income. They're out of poverty, they're out of hunger. They can send their kids to school and even to university if they want. And I think the story that represents best what an impact he made and One Acre made on these lives was that in the area where he started, all the baby boys were named Andrew. And at a certain point he said, well, please, that's not very practical, but it's too much honor as well. So please, don't do this. And then they start naming their babies 1 acre. So I don't know. I don't know. Of course, these kind of initiatives might need some funding from the start, but Superlicious has a sustainable business model. And the 1 Acre Fund is a revolving fund. So it's not that you pour money in and it flows everywhere, but you need funders. They receive funding from the Doen Foundation. And the Doen Foundation, nowadays, you would call them an impact investor. They have been financing social businesses for the last 25 years. And they commissioned the research because they wanted to know what had all these successful social businesses in common. And the results were very interesting. Number 1, the moral compass of its founders. What were the values they were working for? The guy with an autistic son started a software testing company where autists, just like his son, could do great jobs. He was very motivated to do that. That was his moral compass. That's what he wanted to do. So when times were tough, he would not change in taking different employees. No, that was his thing. The second thing the research found out was, of course, you have to be resilient and entrepreneurial, because you write a plan, then you start, and nothing goes according to plan. The plan making is important because you do the research, but reality brings a lot of surprises. How to handle that? People that were successful did that in a very good way. And the third point that all these businesses had in common was that they were aware of other initiatives and people in the field, that they kept up to date on new developments. They were not getting smug and thinking, oh, we have the right solution here and we'll continue without ever educating ourselves. They kept really informing themselves. And that was such an interesting result, I think, because it makes kind of clear that the successful social businesses are very suited for the new times to come, because everybody is very well aware that we don't know how the future looks like. We just don't know, basically. What we do know is that you have to be very resilient and adaptive to all the new things that come on our path, that you can adapt to that. So that makes these social businesses, I think, very well equipped to do that. But this is the momentum of meaning, isn't it? When we are creating all these new systems, or the old systems are kind of disappearing, we have to really think, in what kind of world do we want to live? And that is something we should think of very clearly. When you think of the values, besides the values, we have been talking about that before, there's so much knowledge available in the world and so much experience. And it's all locked in heads or in computers or in papers. And wouldn't it solve so much more when we could connect this knowledge with people and opportunities and challenges? How would the world look like if we could do that? And it sounds so feasible, Google, Facebook, Alibaba, hey guys, help us out here. There's all this great data available. And all these people that want to be challenged, all these challenges we have to fix. But we need to connect with the information and the data in people, in organizations that is already there. And we can do that. So if they can build dating websites where people can find the love of their lives, we must find a way of build something to connect the knowledge and the opportunities and the people that are there. And as a visual person, even though I don't have any slides with me today, I think it would be such a nice challenge to visualize data in a new way. So no more death by PowerPoint or Excel sheets, but make information tangible for other people. Use the artists who always look in a different way, because maybe motivating people is not just something for business, it's very relevant for schools and for parents. And this really new strong magnet is maybe developed for a special industry, but hey, maybe doctors can use it in a different way, or maybe it will open my door when I implant it in the near future as well. I don't know, but we have to think out of the silos we created in the 20th century. And I think there's so many opportunities there. So values, connecting those values. And the third thing that is probably the most important of all, act, implement, say yes. Really, we have to get our act together. Maybe it's my personal frustration, but I cannot handle any more steering committees, task forces that create reports that never will reach out, implementation, whatever. And it's such a pity, because we need to act. And when you look at a group of people that is always creating, look at the artists. There's silence and then there's music. There's an empty stage and suddenly there is a story you will never forget. Or a white paper ends up in a drawing. It's the purpose of the artist to create. Maybe we can learn from them, again, to really do and try, because reality learns us most. In reality, your plan seemed a good starting point, but with a little bit of adaptation, it will thrive. Edison, when he developed the light bulb, he tried 5,000 times. It's not this eureka moment. It really took hard work. And implementing the lessons he learned when trying it. A lot of refugees are entering Europe for the last years, actually, not only in the last 6 months. And it's interesting that only one political leader spoke and acted on the basis of the humanitarian values our European Union was founded upon. Angela Merkel was voted yesterday as Woman of the Year by Time magazine because of her moral leadership. And what I find interesting, and the cover says she's the chancellor of a free world when you buy the magazine. And it's interesting when she was asked, how is Germany going to house 1 million refugees? She said, you all know what she said, wir schaffen das. And guess what? So many people are motivated intrinsically to make this happen that they are actually doing that at this time. Thank you.